Hello, everybody. I'm Roadblock. We are on the free to play. I really wanted to give you guys some good news for a change. It feels like every single one of my recent episodes has me doing this, and I feel it's not fun. It's not fun when everything's coming up negative, right? Like we had such great luck on this account, pulling Geomancers early, getting Taragis, getting, you know, sweet legendaries, and like this account has seen some really great luck when it comes to the champions that we've encountered and pulled, right? But lately, things have been on a bit of a downturn. And that happens. That's the ebb and flow of the game. But what I want to do today is talk about the good side. Talk about what's been going good on the account. And believe it or not, it's Clan Boss. So, obviously in my last video I talked about, I don't know if it was my last video or the one before it. I've been making a lot of content lately, so I'm a little fuzzy on what's come out. But I will tell you that all the comments I've been reading today were either about the free-to-play challenge account or about Godseeker and the whole Clan Boss team that I tried. So I really wanted to kind of talk about that. First of all, I don't have Guardian gear, guys. I know how good that is. I totally know how good Guardian gear is. Please understand that this account isn't farming Doom Tower. Period. So right now, we're not in the right rotation for Guardian gear. Okay? So problem number one. Problem number two, if I want good Guardian gear, I need to be farming it at some of the higher stages. Well, this is as far as I can get on Doom Tower Hard right now. I've been stuck on here for a while. I am not prioritizing progressing past this boss. I have the champion to pass this boss. All I need to do is get Reliquary Tender up, and I can beat this boss, in my opinion, pretty easily. That's not where my account is at right now. Clan Boss is the focus, right? So please understand that I know Guardian gear would change everything. I don't have it. Therefore, we have to take that out of the equation. Okay? A lot of you gave some really good advice about the defense level of my champions. Some of you even said that those champions that I now have crit rate on should be in tankier gear so that they can live longer. I totally understand your thought process because I did that already. I don't know if I'm not representing myself well enough or making it clear to you guys, but those champions were tanky. And we lasted longer rounds, and the scores were the same. So I totally understand what you guys are saying, like, build your champions tankier and things like that. It didn't matter. Now, maybe they were too tanky. Maybe I need to find the right balance in between, and that's the upside. That's what we're talking about now, right? We're going to play with our gear a little bit. Please remember, guys, it's very, very easy to look at somebody and say, but what are you doing, dude? Just put you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. Every account is different. Everybody's gear is different. This account is only 222 days old, okay? And I know that you say only, that's a lot of time. But I don't have as deep of a gear pool as I would like. So that brings in some issues and some problems. What I would like to do is probably swap Ursula and Godseeker's gear. Let's put the poison on Ursula and get Godseeker a little more tanky and survivable while still keeping that crit cap, but getting maybe more defense-focused gear on Godseeker. Definitely need a defense percent chest. I don't think I have a defense percent toxic chest, which is, yeah, all the more reason to move this toxic gear over to Ursula and kind of go that route and see if we can get more damage out of Godseeker and survivability out of Godseeker while simultaneously getting more damage out of Ursula. Because Godseeker can hit pretty decent, and she's defense based, so she's going to survive longer and do more damage. So that's kind of the next step. And a lot of that came from your guys' suggestions. I also want to point out, I don't know, and you might have, right? I don't know if you guys are completely taking into consideration the fact that I'm already reducing the damage by 15%, provided I have the HP burns. And I talked about that in the video. Geomancer is too slow. I need Geomancer to be much faster in order to keep his HP burn up longer. That's really hurting me because I'm losing that 15% damage reduction every time the clan boss takes a turn without that. I'm also losing damage reduction every time he takes a turn, and I don't have Ally Protect. So, great suggestions. Also, love the feedback. Everybody offered very constructive criticism, which I've talked about in the past. I love that constructive criticism. It really helps me to not be dismissive of it. You know, it's really easy when someone's like, "You're an idiot. You need more defense," versus like, "Hey, I would recommend this amount of defense because you know X, Y, and Z." One and one thing I have an issue with, and I guess issue is a wrong word. That's too harsh of a word. It just raised questions in my head. Is I haven't found any sources on the desirable defense, which is on me. Like I could just be missing this very obvious information about that kind of stuff. Um, so I don't know of any like target defense goals. So I don't know where those numbers that some people threw out were coming from. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I just don't know where they're coming from. And I would just like to have some more, information before I go and dive into a full rebuild of all my champions. The other thing that I would mention is that lifesteal gear, again, this isn't a super deep account. Despite the fact that it's been around for a while, I don't have that much lifesteal gear, at least not good lifesteal gear. You'll see I only have one chest plate, period, for lifesteal gear. Now, could I make a lifesteal set out of these other pieces? Yes. But, I mean, I've got Godseeker. I've thought about rebuilding and maybe going into masteries to kind of increase her healing a little bit. But I'm happy with Godseeker's healing. And I don't really feel like... I mean, it does get low in the later stages, but in those stages, I'm gonna get one or two shot anyways. I don't know that that lifesteal is gonna be the secret sauce that I think a lot of people think it's going to be. And it's not a knock on lifesteal. Lifesteal's amazing, but I just don't know that it would be enough to keep to obviously what we're looking for is like one or two more turns, right? But the team is just almost there without lifesteal gear. And so I don't know that if I have to go lifesteal gear, I'm going to be losing a lot of those stats that I currently have that's getting me up there. For example, like the biggest weakness is probably the fact that Rathalos is a little squishy. Not that squishy, but he is a little bit more squishy because he's an attack-based champion. I've got attack-based gear on him. However, it doesn't really feel like he's the one that's dying all that much, and he hits like a truck. He hit for over 1 million damage on Nightmare, which brings me to my next point. I wanted to show you guys this. This was regular Nightmare, but I one-keyed regular Nightmare for the first time on the account with the team that I've been showing off. That being said, the key that I ran before this, earlier today, was just under a one key. So it's not 100%, but it was just under a one key. I want to say it was like 38 million. We just need to tweak it a little bit. A couple of blessings here and there. a couple of enchants here and there. I mean, I don't even know if everybody is fully enchanted that's on this team yet. Um, let's see. I wonder if yeah, Ursula could definitely use some enchants. And again, I'm probably gonna do some gear swapping. Uh, Geomancer is probably everything is just accuracy. Yeah, so maybe even just increasing his damage a little, just a little bit. Like I'm not looking. I'm just looking for a couple 100,000, right, over the course of a long fight. Could make a big difference. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I could do. And then for Taragi, I should probably swap one of these to a defense percent. Now, I go HP on him because he's an HP based champion, but I'm wondering if the defense percent will help him live a little bit longer too. I also want to try to keep his crit damage low because the higher the crit damage, well, I guess the stun target isn't really meant to be, like, I don't really have a stun target, so it might not be the worst thing to try and get him a little bit more damage out of him if possible. But the poisons are doing what they need to do. Now, one of the previous approaches that I had was with Venomage, and I am willing to consider that maybe my Venomage is a little too squishy, but certainly too slow. If I can speed up the Venomage and speed up the Geomancer, Venomage might be able to accomplish a similar thing to Ursula, but I'm just very affinity locked. What I love about Ursula is how much she opens up my affinity issue, where I will always be able to land the decrease attack that she brings, as well as getting increase attack, which is just going to make Rathalos hit even harder. And in this particular run where I did 40 million damage, he hit for 1 million. So I pulled a really good piece today. And let's see. This one. All right, so I needed to hit crit rate at least once. Let's go to 12 first and see what it does. Perfect. That actually might be perfect. I will lose 1 crit rate. Oh, and quite a bit of speed, actually, too. But I'll gain some defense. And some flat attack. And crit damage. Let's see what the last one rolls here. Flat attack. I don't like losing that speed so much. Wait, isn't he really fast? 188? It'll make him slower than my Geomancer, but it also only puts him at 99% crit rate, which I'm not super happy about. Yeah. I'll have to think about that piece, because I do like the speed on it. The crit rate, obviously. I don't know that it's worth it for, like, some flat attack, right? So the other thing, too, is, like, we're talking about survivability stats, so none of this gear is ascended yet. Same on Ursula, hell, same for Geomancer. Like, if I start the min-max process now, we might be able to see some significant results. And this feels just like it used to feel back before I got my unkillable team on the main account. And what I mean by that is I was using legendaries, but it was like, once I got Pythion, I brought Pythion. I had Ultimate Death Knight. and I was bringing in, I had Mishinaki and Nethril and an ally attack, and with Longbeard, and we were just doing, just doing exactly this, where I just kept min maxing until I managed to squeeze out the perfect combination for their kits and finish off Ultra Nightmare on a 2 key is what I ended up having it at right before I finally got the unkillable team, and I was able to 1 key both Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. And the reason that was important, you'd say, well, you had a killable team that could do it. Why build the unkillable? The unkillable team is much like I talked about on the main account with Phantom Shogun's Grove, where it's so nice to have a dedicated team to one area of the game. And I used a bunch of champions in that were rares and epics that I wasn't going to use elsewhere in the game, and that really is nice. It freed up my Mishinaki to be able to be built differently for Hydra. It freed up Ultimate Death Knight to be used in Iron Twins. Like, I was able to free up a lot of different strong champions by making that unkillable team. So right now, I'm using my strongest champions and trying to get a build here to work. And I'm just going to have to keep working at it. That's, well, all that it is. But I do think this is the final version of the team. A team that can 1 key Nightmare is looking pretty good. I just need to min-max and start getting some extra stats in here, whether it's from improving their blessings or from ascending their gear or Great Hall. Again, guys, look at this Great Hall. Like, this is only 220 days. I'm missing so many stats in here that would improve my damage output, that would improve my survivability, and I'm working towards it. I am saving up for, I'm going to spend these points in the upcoming Clan v Clan. But yeah, we're going to get there. We will get there, okay? So I totally get where you guys are coming from and that perspective of, like, I can do it. Why can't he? Different accounts, different gear qualities, different stuff. Once I have Ultra Nightmare on farm, now my goal is right now is a 4 key, but I would love it if I could get it to a 3 key. Now that's asking a lot. It really truly is. In fact, when I go to Hell Hades and I run my team through the optimizer and ask for suggestions, the best team that it comes up with is only 20 million. Well, 20 million times 3 is only 60 million. That's not enough to get the max chest out of Clan Boss. And the only reason I say that I would love to have a 3 key is to be able to 3 key here and 1 key Nightmare would get me 4 shots at Sacred Shards and Legendary Books, right? So that's the ultimate goal, but the primary goal, the first goal, is a consistent, that's the key, consistency, a consistent 4 key Ultra Nightmare. And that's what we're working towards. And we are close. We are close. So if we look at the 3 key that it put up today, or sorry, is it a 2 key? It's just a 1 key. So we're at 16.6 million. I would love to get this around 20 million. 4 million is a pretty big gap, of course, but you'd be surprised at how much some of these blessings and better stats and moving gear around can improve it. So I am working on it, and your feedback is great. I'm not saying anything negative about your feedback. I'm thankful for it. In fact, why don't we just take a look and see what we do in an Ultra Nightmare, right? Let's just see. There's no harm. I've already finished Nightmare. I had to use 2 keys in Nightmare because the first key, remember, was just under the 40 million. And then the second key was over 40 million. So a little bit of inconsistencies that I need to work out. I also know about speed tuning. I have built an unkillable team. I understand how to use Deadwood Jedi's speed tuning system and everything. It's just a lot harder without a template. It's a lot harder when you don't have this very specific guide that says, hey, you guy, put this champion at 300 speed or 290 speed or 291 speed with a true speed of no higher than 292 or whatever the case may be. I'm just making up numbers. And so I'm saying all of this just to remind you guys that I'm not an absolute noob. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a lot of experience building killable teams. I'm not hiding that fact. I'm not shy about that fact. I don't have a lot of experience building killable teams. Mostly I've built unkillable teams, and we don't have the champions yet for an unkillable team. So we just need to work with what we've got, and I'm learning at the same time you guys are. So the feedback is great. I just wanted to be clear about the fact that I'm not like... No one made me feel like an idiot, but I just wanted to be clear that I'm not... maybe not... I don't know. I just want you guys to know I've been playing the game for a while, and I know how to beat. I've beaten on the Ultra Nightmare Unkillable plenty of times. Sometimes I feel like that people come and see the channel for the first time, and they're like, I'm going to teach this noob what to do and how to win this game. It's like, I'm doing really good on my main account. I don't know if you've seen that account yet, but anyways. So... yeah, and I am noticing, like, again, this is an affinity thing, right? With all my damage coming from Rathalos, having this particular affinity, Spirit Affinity, which is the hardest affinity regardless, and then you have the fact that Rathalos can potentially weak hit is definitely going to impact the output here. Yep, see, weak hit on his biggest hit, too. That's unfortunate. I'm glad, though, that it still did 160,000, right? Like, that's saying something about his kit and how powerful it truly is. For that particular hit, because it ignored defense, 100% of defense, that would have been his fifth hit. Where the multiplier, I would assume. I think that was the fifth hit on the A3 there. Yeah. So see, that one only did 54 on the A2 that time. And that's a big part of it. And who knows what champions are hiding in shards. Now, this is an area, right, where I'm talking about, like, this could be a situation where if I can top everybody off, that we could see better results, right? If everyone was topped off there, they survive, right? I'm not oblivious to that fact. That was a good revive. Not enough, though. But look at the damage that we did pull off, right? And again, hard affinity, you know, but we did pull off the 17.4, which is much better than the 16 that we had done earlier. With a little bit of tweaking, I definitely think I can get this team better. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Now, I am a little silver starved from all this gear maneuvering and reworking and everything that I've been doing. I did do it partially during an artifact enhancement event. I did a little bit today, so that event had ended, but yeah, we're gonna keep at this. I'm not giving up. I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm just working on it and trying to find success where I can. The other thing I might do, since I have the champions for it, at least 3 of them, or I guess the 2 most important ones, right? Liquid Tender. Who's the 4th person in my team? I'm trying to remember real quick. Oh yeah, Paragon. I think I have Paragon on the free-to-play. He might be in the vault, but I'm pretty sure I have a Paragon. Void Affinity. Yeah, there he is, right there. So I've got Paragon. I've got the 3 pieces that I need. Paragon, Reliquary Tender, and... Oh, I have 2 Paragons. And the other guy is not a Void, but I know I have him. What's his name? Gnarlhorn? Yeah. So I might consider building the team for Stage 25 Phantom Grove, which sounds kind of crazy to say, right? But if I can build this team and work my way up to Stage 25, that's going to help me ascend and rework a lot of my accessories. Now, that's not always the best, right? But my thought process is kind of that, you know, being able to ascend accessories is just an extra place where I can get that little bit of min-maxing. And because it's so easy to build that team, because they're rares, the speeds may be a problem, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. Priority 1 is getting Clan Boss figured out. So if I can do a little bit of min-maxing, and I know I keep repeating myself, I don't mean to, but let's get all these little kind of like onesie-twosie advantages here. And once we have that, then we can like get that 1-key nightmare, consistent 1-key nightmare, and try to work and just try to work towards that 4-key. So that's my plan. And I'll be able to test it by running those other 3 keys in Ultra Nightmare and seeing what kind of performance they put up. Hopefully, I'll be able to wake up early enough tomorrow to do Void Affinity on Ultra Nightmare and see how well it does. Because Affinity is a bit of a problem. So you never... It's just hard to tell how good this team could be if I can only test it against a dead clan boss. So we're going to keep working at it. All right. Enough about that. Let's kind of talk about the rest of the account, I suppose. I am kind of saving. Now, obviously, I spent that Sacred Shard. If I was to pull another Sacred Shard tomorrow, would I spend it? I'd probably spend it. It's a 2x event. And this guy is really good. I think I said on my main... Oh, I never released that video. I did pull shards for him. I pulled 1 shard on this account. Obviously didn't get any legendary. And then I pulled shards on my main account and got Jag Bonesaw. But it wasn't an especially great video. And I'm trying to hold my videos to a higher standard with a lot less ums and uhs and stuff. So I decided to hold off on that one. But I already had Jag. That was my second copy of Jag. Did not get the super good guy. Definitely would love him on this account for sure, which is why I would probably pull that Sacred. And we'll see what happens going into the upcoming Fusion. But the plan is to save as many resources as possible. Now, obviously, I've been spending too many gems. That's a big mistake on my part. And I've been spending a lot of silver. So I have to be mindful of that with what I'm doing tomorrow. Tomorrow in regards to that that clan boss team. Oh, wow, we're already at 30 minutes. That's a lot longer than I expected this video to be. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the support. I've got big news coming up for the channel in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.